And finally, there are a couple more things you can do to help you in a hardened market. First one being, it is important to provide the why or the because if you're delivering some not necessarily favourable news. Now, for example, we would recommend X due to the limited markets that are available at the moment. The other thing you can do is you can learn to negotiate and push back for more options with insurers. Now, looking at those in a little bit more detail, providing the why or the because will help to influence the conversation with your client as they will start to understand your perspective and where you're coming from. Having clear communication can help to articulate your point. Checking for understanding with your client throughout the conversation so that you know that they're up to speed, but they're also on board with the point that you're trying to make. Building rapport with insurers too. It's not always about the rapport with your client. It's important to build that rapport with your insurers so that you can negotiate further down the line. Upskilling negotiation techniques. If you don't currently know them or know what to do, then maybe that could be part of your 10 minutes a day that you learn to upskill in negotiation and how that can influence the relationships you've got. Learn to push back on insurers. Fight for the best possible outcome for your client. Ask questions. We all know that phrase that if you don't ask, you don't get. Become confident to ask these challenging questions and understand why we can't so that you can then in turn reiterate that to your client. And then finally, show your appreciation. That is both to the client and to the insurer. If they're going to go further for you and they're going to be willing to open to negotiation, then show that appreciation because that can go a long way.